When Bang Dream It's MyGO won Anime of the Year at the R Anime Awards, I have to admit I was pretty skeptical. I'd always associated the Bang Dream franchise with idols for whatever reason, and as someone who only mildly enjoyed the first Love Live and Drop Sunshine, I started the first episode of MyGO in a way that can only be described as tentatively. I was immediately hooked. It was incredibly clear just how wrong I was. MyGO wasn't an idol show, not that there's anything wrong with that. It's a 100% band show, which is a measurable difference. More than that, it was a show about broken people. The viewer is dropped into the direct aftermath of a chaotic breakup, a confusing mess that consists only of shattered pieces. Something where you could probably squint and see how it used to be, but even rearranging the pieces doesn't quite get you there. Anon is the character that's dropped into this whole thing, blissfully unaware of the hornet's nest she's about to kick. But who I really find the most interesting is Soyo. It's the first time I've seen a character like her, a delicate balance of perfect poise and utter desperation. I found the juxtaposition fascinating. Let's rewind a second. Each of the former MyGO girls is coping with the fallout of Kreishik in their own ways. Tomori is completely self-blaming. Sakiko is nowhere to be found, and Taki has isolated herself away, with Mutsumi doing the same. The only one who seems relatively normal is Soyo. She has friends, she's bright and cheery, and she accepts Anon's plight with grace. "Oh, sure, I'll join your band. I even got some ideas for who else to ask." It is this calculating front of a personality that drew me towards Soyo. This was someone clinging to the past, biding her time until Anon falls into her lap. You can see her entire demeanor shift after Tomori's name comes out of Anon's mouth, her hands coming together into Gendo planning mode. While everyone else kind of throws up their hands and accepts the band's breakup as fact, Soyo is a determined actor. She secretly meets with Mutsumi, tries to track down Sakiko, and remains a thorn in Taki's side, all the while presenting this prim and proper outer appearance. It kind of plays an audience expectation as well. The magnanimous, albeit sheltered Ojo-san is a trope that we all know well, and Soyo's first appearance as a gentle One-san type character wouldn't have anyone so much as bat an eye. But MyGO expertly uses that expectation to delineate the difference between niceness and sincerity. Over the course of MyGO, we see Soyo's facade begin to break as things don't go to plan. She's constantly fighting back against Anon expanding her role. Rana's existence pushes out Mutsumi, and seemingly by the day, things get further and further from Kreishik 2.0. At one point, she says, "Why is it that we can never say the things that are most important? That's why everyone in Kreishik ended up not connecting with each other." But that's rich coming from someone hiding their true intentions, furtively meeting with past band members and lying about her reasons for showing up to their school. Soyo believes everything can be solved with endless communication, but ironically enough refuses to communicate her own baggage. This all comes to a head in episode 7. Almost like a runaway train, the band finds itself playing Haru Hikage, and Soyo is forced to follow suit. Everyone else is captured by this magical moment, the stars seemingly aligning, while the only thing Soyo can focus on is Sakiko. And when she leaves, you can see Soyo frantically searching for a solution, anything to stop this moment from occurring. But it's too late. The time has passed. A familiar song played by the wrong people. At the conclusion of their performance, Soyo is the one to break up their happy moment. Because by definition, a happy breakthrough for MyGO is a crushing defeat for Soyo's Kreishik. Here's the big question. Why does Kreishik mean so much to her? A friend pointed out to me that a lot of the time MyGO is focused on Soyo, it's also focused on showing us chairs. She and her mom move into this massive penthouse, fitting of her private school background. But combined with her mom's full work schedule, it means a lot of time alone. The show does a great job of making this massive empty space feel isolating. As Soyo lives her life, we see it almost just as a series of empty chairs. The kitchen table, the outside patio, the living room, her own room. But then comes Sakiko. Soyo catches her eye one day at Woodwind Club, and that triggers a whirlwind that seemingly fills up her empty chairs in an instant. Even in the past, Soyo is ever the mediator. She's the one who recommends karaoke to overcome Tomori's stage fright. She's the one to start up their Instagram. More and more, she ingrains herself with the idea of Kreishik itself, until it becomes part of her identity. Which is why it's all the more heartbreaking when everything falls apart. This montage of each person leaving one by one hits hard. Almost like she was given a little taste of what a fulfilling life with friends is like, only to have it ripped away. Back to the empty chairs. With this in mind, we can see why Soyo is at her most unstable after episode 7. She seesaws between coldly ignoring Mutsumi, to acting sweet for information, to snarling that it's all her fault. She spends her nights in bed sending paragraph after paragraph to Sakiko, hoping she can lawyer her way out of this. As if there's a magic series of words that will logic Sakiko into forgiving her and joining the band. At one point, she still thinks the problem is playing the freaking song. Unfortunately for her, Sakiko easily sees through her whole spiel. She says all of this clinging is unseemly. Things come to a head when Taki confronts her at some familiar stairs. And Soyo reveals her true nature. About how Anon and Rana were useful, but she didn't need them. She completely admits to being selfish, and then coldly rebukes Taki for her dependence on Tomori. It's clear that she intends for this to be the final word. In another show, this might have been the big reveal that your friend was the villain all along. In such a show, your heroes might band together to take down the new threat. Or if it were a drama, you'd try to out-scheme the schemer. But that's not what happens here. Soyo doesn't go through some dramatic character arc where she realizes she was wrong and everything's hunky-dory. Even after their cathartic reunion on stage, she remains curt, rude at times, and extremely blunt. But that's who she is. It's only after embracing her standoffish natural state that she really integrates with the group. Anon grants her a nickname, and her empty chairs slowly become filled. She realizes that with the right people, you don't have to play the social game, manipulate others, say the right things. Her facial expressions at some of Anon's comments kill me. She no longer has to conceal her opinions with tact. Instead, she is free to say what she means. And at the end of the day, despite the whinging, she helps anyway. That's bonding as a band. I think why I love Soyo so much as a character relates to how well she reflects the core conceit of MyGO. That these are a series of lost girls, but no matter how many times they lose their way, they can find their way back. Soyo is accepted for who she is and even understood for what she did. Tomori says as much during her mid-show riffing, that she's honored to know someone who loved Kreishik so much. The cool thing about MyGO is that with Ave Mujica, we can actually follow Soyo's growth as she continues to be an important figure. And there's one moment that perfectly captures how far she's come. They once again play Haruhikage, but the circumstances have changed. Anon is strong enough now to stand aside and know that she's not being left behind. And Soyo? She's able to accept that this is not a trump card to be played. Rather, it's an homage to days long gone. When Sakiko brings up the ultimate test, asking if she should choose Ave Mujica or Kreishik, Soyo knows best out of anyone that it's not an actual choice. Kreishik is gone. When they meet back at Ring, Soyo says, "We can't go back to those days." A lesson she's learned so fiercely. You can bring it back in name, but that feeling and those good days belong to that moment. Soyo is someone that, honestly, you should probably dislike. She's the quintessential fake friend. Manipulative, scheming, distrustful, honestly kind of a bitch. And I don't want anyone to think that this video condones her actions. And yet, I think at some level, we all understand. In a way, her arc of someone desperately trying to fit in, even if that means covering up who she is, ends up being the most human. I have to admit, I see a lot of myself in her. I'm not the best in social situations, but I can play the game, say the right thing, laugh the fake laugh, and smile when I really want to roll my eyes. I could learn a thing or two about not shying away from myself in the pursuit of being inoffensive. Her hangups about Kreishik are also incredibly human. Who out of all of us hasn't longed for happier times? Though probably never to the level of Soyo. Earlier this year, I went to Japan, and it was an absolute blast. I went with a group of friends and we had great food, went to great concerts, got chased by deer, and squirmed through small holes in temple pillars. We visited the famous Kumiko bench as denoted on Google Maps and watched as shrine workers tried to throw a man off of a platform while he hopped on one leg. Before I even got back, I was already planning my next trip on the plane ride home. What frustrated me the most was how quickly everything was normal again. It almost felt like I had never gone to Japan at all. But in the midst of my frantic researching and desperate attempt to recapture that feeling, I remembered Soyo. Just as Kreischick was a perfect chemical reaction that came together for a brief moment before fading away, my trip to Japan was also the culmination of a lot of things that won't necessarily align in the exact same ways. Those memories and feelings belong to the past, and they will eventually fade. And that's okay. That just means I'm free to make some new ones. Thanks for watching. Everyone in Bang Dream is a joy to watch, though some are more mentally stable than others. I think a lot of the time there isn't really continuity in shows like this. Characters may change from beginning to end, sure, but Soyo was the first time I've seen the niceness mask fall and stay there. Watching her in Avimujika, with her stern expression and flippant responses, always makes me think she's come so far. If you liked the video, please click the like button and subscribe for more content. If you want to support me further, you can donate to my Patreon. Special thanks to will.i.am, K47, Lol Puppies, Joey Pena, R. Aku, Akitji, Sand Avenger, Andy Rosen, Eugene B, Shaw King 807, Anime Chuck, Matt Weiser Mermaid, Leishfin, Wolfenstein Gamer 632, Veterinarian, and Infinite Jest for their support. And of course, if anything I said was wrong, I'm sorry. I must have stuttered.